Hello and welcome to Yardstick. Today we're going to take a look at how easy it is to estimate the operational cost for a property using Yardstick from DC2O. So let's start. When you log onto Yardstick, you land on the following page. The menus on the left-hand side allow you to input your own property operational costs with the My Buildings function if you'd like to compare it to Yardstick benchmarks. You can consolidate Yardstick benchmarks with buildings data to develop a total campus or site estimate using the portfolio function. These topics will be covered further in more how-to videos. The main benchmark screen shows a list of benchmarks that have been created specifically by a user. As a user, only you can see your benchmarks when you log onto Yardstick. However, you do have the ability to share benchmarks with others. It's important to note that Yardstick is dynamic. Each time DC2O adds more operational costs, they are added to the overall dataset to generate new benchmark values. In practice, this means that you may get a more refined result each time you run your benchmarks. DC2O is constantly sourcing new data to improve the accuracy of the benchmarks. Let's look at the red buttons on the top right-hand side. The Export to Excel button gives you an output in Microsoft Excel of all the detailed benchmarks on the screen. This can be very useful for planning and budgeting purposes. The Manage Shares button allows you to look at who you have shared benchmarks with. You can delete or add sharing permissions. Okay, let's create a benchmark estimate using the appropriately named Create Benchmark button. The title field is free text and could be the name of a specific building or project. So we're going to say the Smith Aged Care Facility. The description field is also free text, where you can add a bit more detail about the property, such as number of stories, age, etc. In this case, we'll say it is 2-story and built in 2011. Building type is an important value for developing the benchmark and is selected from a pick list. If you look at the record finder, at the bottom of the form, you'll see that we currently have 64 different building types. Building types only become available if we have sufficient number to allow a valid comparison. There must at least be 5. You can pick directly from the list by using the select button, or else enter part of the name, use the magnifying glass search, and then select. In this case, we've selected aged care nursing home. Drop-down lists are available to fill state. We'll pick New South Wales and industry. And we'll pick health. Just to note, we're looking at developing an international capability so that we can spread use of Yardstick further than Australia. Gross GFA is gross floor area. In this case, we'll say it's 2,700 square meters. The building use is to select the type of function which occupies the facility. And then the building use quantity will be the number of those particular items. So building use in this case is going to be patients. And then we'll say there's 70 patients. Finally, you nominate the date. The default is today, but you can easily enter past dates if you'd like to try calculate maintenance backlog, for example, or if you want to look at future costs for new buildings which are in planning or construction. When all the fields are completed, you press the red Save and Analyze button. Within a matter of seconds, your benchmark estimate is ready. A few things to note. Yardstick provides a range of costs, as this is a top-down estimate and detailed scope can differ from facility to facility. The final column range is a measure from the lower to the maximum value for all benchmark sources for the associated building types, and these then are normalized to the nominated gross floor area, date and location. The more benchmark data DC2O acquires, the finer the ranges will become. The shades in the bars on the right-hand side are a graphical indication of where the benchmark data is concentrated. The bar graph on the top right-hand side shows the cost distribution between the typical FM categorizations of hard FM, soft FM, utilities, and management. The calculated benchmarks are cost only. They're not price. They do not include margin, general overheads, risk allowances, etc., which are internal commercial considerations for any organization. In this example, there are only 2 service lines available. However, if we go back and look at another benchmark, you can see we have many more service lines. Again, this is dependent on the data source available, and again, data sourcing is a primary function of DC2O in order to be able to develop the best estimates we possibly can. The red buttons on the top right-hand section of the screen allow you to edit the inputs used in your benchmark. As such, share the benchmarks with others in your team or elsewhere, or export the data as presented into an Excel spreadsheet. Oh yeah, and the back button takes you back to your list of benchmarks. And that's how easy it is. As mentioned, in further videos we will show you how to add your own buildings through the My Buildings function and quickly build operational cost estimates for property portfolios by combining the results of My Buildings with Yardstick benchmarks. DC2O are providing and developing tools to allow users to gain better understanding of the operational costs of their property assets. Yardstick is our first offering, which provides a fast top-down benchmark estimate. Very soon, we will be releasing our lifecycle costing calculator and DIY asset planner, which will provide our subscriber community with bottom-up estimating capabilities. We believe that understanding operational costs will encourage organizations to develop better asset management practice and in turn realize asset management benefits. Thanks for your time.